Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having an amazing weekend. There's lots to talk about in the Chicken and Garden update. If you like such things, go watch it now. But you're not here for that. You're here for the Sunday musing. And today we're going to be talking about the survey that popped up in the last couple of weeks from McKinsey that seemed to suggest that about one half of EV owners are ready to just throw the towel on EVs and go back to gasoline. And that is being used, it's been seized upon by certain political spheres to argue that EVs are terrible and gay and nobody wants them and it's just a waste of money and it's all for the rich people and, well, we should go back to fossil fuels. Yeah, I think you can probably guess how I feel about that. But also the survey is being misrepresented. I mean, McKinsey's basically said that. It surveyed a pretty small group of people. It surveyed a small group of people around the world, and a lot of the people responding were in markets where EV provision is not very good. So there is going to be a skew towards, I bought this car thinking it would be awesome, but I don't have access to charging infrastructure, etc., etc. For the overwhelming majority of EV owners I know, though, they are not ready to go back to internal combustion engine. I know personally I'm not. Of course, it would be the scandal of the century if I came on camera now and said, oh, I'm done with my F-150 Lightning and my Chevrolet Bolt EV and my Vectrix VX1. I'm going to go and buy a gas-guzzling old V8 F-150 from 10 years ago and I'm going to buy, you'd know something was wrong, right? And I acknowledge that I am not in that normal category, but I cannot think of a single person I know personally who has purchased an EV who has gone, I'm ready to go back. The only people I can think of who have even entertained the possibility of going back to gasoline have been people who have owned a plug-in vehicle. And no, I'm saying plug-in rather than battery electric, because for the most part, they are people who owned plug-in hybrids or range-extended EVs that suffered expensive repairs with the vehicle and was like, I cannot afford to buy another EV or another plug-in vehicle. If this vehicle breaks, I am going to have to get a fossil fuel vehicle. Sorry, I got my words in the wrong muddle there. Sometimes that happens when my brain jumps ahead. I apologize. What I mean is that there are people who, for situations beyond their control, have gone, I really don't want to go back to internal combustion, but I'm going to do it reluctantly. Or maybe they crashed their EV or they were involved in a collision or their car was written off after an act of God, and they're now going, I don't have another choice, or I can't get one that's affordable for me. I'm just going to have to go back to internal combustion temporarily. And obviously, if they answered that survey and the survey was written in a way that they could answer honestly without having any context behind it, which a lot of surveys are, then they might appear on that survey to go, yeah, I'm going back to fossil fuels. So I want to know how many of you watching this, if you are an EV driver, and for the purposes of this video, if you have any kind of electrified vehicle, whether it's a plug-in hybrid, whether it's an EV, whether it's an electric bicycle, anything like that, would you go back to what you had before? I'm curious, because I don't know a single person with an EV who've gone, yeah, I'll go back to ICE. A couple of weeks ago, Michael's Bolt was in for repair. There was a warranty issue on the car. It's been fixed under warranty, which is great, under extended warranty. But it took about 3 weeks for the extended warranty folks to actually cough up the money and say, okay, well, we'll fix it. And during that period, they had to go back to basically borrowing my car. And I went and picked them up and drove them to and from work for a couple of times. They worked from home as much as possible. And they borrowed my wife's Chevrolet Bolt for a while, for a couple of weekends. But there was a period where they had to have a car of their own for a short period of time, living where they were. They didn't have access to the public transit they needed. They needed to go somewhere. So they rented an internal combustion engine car. It was a Nissan of some description. I think it was a Nissan Sentra. And after they handed it back in and picked their Bolt back, I'm so glad I'm back to electric. Michael enjoys driving manual transmissions, enjoys the experience and the the fun of being in control of a manual internal combustion engine vehicle. But internal combustion engine vehicles are not there anymore. They are mostly automatic, very often hybrid, a little gutless, not really kind of aimed towards a driver aesthetic, unless you're buying a really high-end car, like a top-end Supra or something like that, or a Ferrari or whatever. If you're buying a run-of-the-mill car, you're probably going to have one that's a bit pants, that's ICE, and the majority of EVs on the market today far outperform them, far nicer to drive, far more pleasant to drive, they're quieter, they're lower cost to run. So, I really struggle to take that survey at face value. And because it wasn't a very big sample size, and because it was a global survey, and EVs have not taken off by the same amount in every market, and EV provision in every market is not the same, the responses are, you can explain the responses, right? But I would love to know if you are someone who's like, yeah, I drove an EV for a long time, I hated it, I've gone back to internal combustion. I suspect that there is probably someone who's watching who has gone back to internal combustion for reasons other than I didn't enjoy the experience. So if that sounds like you, please tell me in the comments below why you went back, if you went back, and if you're someone who was like, I had to go back for reasons that I didn't want to go back, i.e. I moved somewhere where I couldn't get charging, or had an accident, my car was written off and I couldn't afford a replacement, or an uninsured driver hit me and my insurance company told me to get lost, or whatever it was, right? Tell me why your circumstances changed and why you went back. But for me, I don't know a single person who's gone to a plug-in electric vehicle and gone, yeah, no, I'm going to go back to gasoline. My sister-in-law and her husband have a Bolt EUV. They don't have a Bolt, they have a Bolt EUV. It was one of the last EUVs that was available for sale. They went down to California to pick it up. And I know that they have said, they really enjoy driving the Bolt EUV around town. They still have an internal combustion engine car because it wasn't worth a whole lot for them to sell it, so they just kept it as a spare. And on the occasions that they do drive that, they complain about it. It's noisy, it's not very smooth, you have to put fuel in it, all of that stuff. Whereas where they live right now, they have charging access at home, and it's a much easier experience for them. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the down below. I will be back next week as usual with another Sunday Musing. Help me explain this survey. And if you haven't already checked out the Chicken and Garter, go do it now, because there's lots of fun things. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube. They help cover our bills, pay our team, and they make sure that we can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, just over $10 a year. A massive welcome to our newest supporters: Carol Bulawa, Rolfondo, Michael Owen, Winter, and Wilton Live. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. And of course, if you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations. We even have a good old-fashioned P.O. box that you can reach us at. Address you'll find linked below. And of course, if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below as well. This month, we are celebrating Pride with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator Erin. You can get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've also got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure that you've hit the subscribe button on either PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we think this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always,
keep evolving.